So let's watch the interview with the mother. And let me preface it by saying this. I have heard many times grief is expressed in many, many different ways. And I would assume if you are the mother of a 1-year-old child that was shot and killed, you would be in a hospital under unbelievable sedation because your grief has prevented you from even speaking. Could you imagine, as a mother, your 1-year-old child is shot and killed, and you're able to function in any way, shape, or form? I have to say no. And I'm not going to say this is just a different way people grieve. I'm going to say this woman's a lump of shit. She didn't care anything about a kid. They're disposable items to get EBT money and other types of welfare, and put up a GoFundMe after they're dead so you could just get more money. And there is no whatsoever, nothing as far as an emotional, maternal connection to a child. And that is below animalistic. Animals care about their kids. Go up to a dog that just had a litter of puppies and try to hurt one of those puppies. See what happens to your fucking hand. Animals know that they need to defend their kids. This fucking piece of garbage doesn't give a shit. She got her bonnet on her head, her vacuum cleaner bag on her head, and she's just making excuses, blaming other people. When the absolute fact of the matter is, you took a 1-year-old to your little crime spree with your friend, and when that happens, all bets are off. All consequences are on you. You killed that kid. And like I said, apparently she don't give a shit. Let's watch this piece of garbage.
Valicia Wally says that she was at Walmart with a friend and baby Cohen. And when they walked out of the store, she says her friend was approached by police. From there, she describes how the situation escalated.
But yeah, they tried to say that she forcefully was trying to drive and hit them, but they was all on the right side and she was driving towards the left. They just personally just shot in the car.
Could you pause for a
Valicia
second?
Wiley.
Imagine, again, your 1-year-old child gets shot and killed, and you are giving an interview saying, well, they said she was trying to hit him, but they were on the right and you were on the left. Could you imagine even having the capacity to argue where the cops were and where the car was going, when you should have the maternal grief? What could be the worst possible grief anyone can have. I think you can argue the point that a mother losing a child is the umpteenth top of the pyramid level of grief that any person on earth can have. More so than a child losing their elderly parent, a friend losing a friend. A mother losing a child is quite arguably the worst possible grief any person could feel. And we got the police, they was on the right. She was turning left, trying to excuse, trying to make some scenario where she and her friend aren't responsible, that her kid's dead. It's beyond animalistic. Continue.
Is speaking out for the first time just days after her 1-year-old son Cohen was killed by a police officer in Senatobia Sunday.
Unreal.
The mother says she was walking out of Walmart with a friend and baby Cohen when Wiley's friend was reportedly approached by police.
They tried to stop her, but I kept walking because it had nothing to do with me. By the time me and my baby got in the car.
they tried to stop her, but I kept walking because it had nothing to do with me. Do you understand that's when you stop walking? If your friend is approached by the police because of what they assume you and your friend did in there, that you would stop and help your friend out? Can't you offer more information as to what was going on in there to help her because you didn't steal anything? I'll tell you when you keep walking, when you're fucking guilty of stealing. I've seen this. Thank God for police body cam videos. Thank God. What a fucking backfire that was by Black Lives Matter. We want all the police to have cameras to show that they abusing us. Police brutality and the oppression and the this and that. And what are we seeing? Thousands of times. Police body cam video of these motherfuckers acting like savages. Criminals. That's what we're seeing. And that's what happened here. When do you keep walking because it didn't involve me? At the very least, you keep walking because it doesn't involve you because you know she did steal something. It's not both of you maybe. Maybe you didn't steal anything. But if you keep walking because it don't involve you, you know she stole something. You don't want to be tied up in that, so you keep walking. And here's where shit gets real fucking like vague. I haven't been able to really get the story as to what happened between the cops saying, hey, we heard you took something without paying, the mother and the kid continuing to walk to the car, and then what transpired there. How did the friend get back into the car to drive away, and the police still wanting to talk to her at least because they chased her? It's not like everything was cool. Oh, we made a mistake. Go to your car. If that happened, the cops would be like, hey, stop. We're fucking chasing you. So obviously the cops hadn't finished their business with this woman, and she somehow made it back to her vehicle where this woman and the baby were waiting in the passenger seat. What transpired there? Did they yell at her to stop? Did she break and ran to the car? I don't know. Why am I not able to get this information? Well, because that information, if you talk about it, it's probably racist. You know, hate facts, we call them. Let's listen to more of this fucking dimwit.
She came, and then when we was backing up, they was running out the cum. I raised my baby up because they withdrew their gun. She had no tent.
Wally alleges 3 to 4.
Pause again. This is beyond all reason. She says the friend came back to the car and the cops were yelling and running and trying to stop. How did she get back to the car? The cops obviously do not want her back in that vehicle. They certainly don't want her driving off. And then the greatest part of this whole clip, the mother holding the child. The child's 1, no baby seat, no nothing. If you weren't involved in something and you want to go back to the car, wouldn't you spend the time to put the baby in the child's seat so the baby's safe from any car accidents or anything? No. You know why? Because they were trying to make a break for it as quickly as possible because they stole shit and they brought a 1-year-old to a fucking shoplifting crime spree. That's why. That's why. And then the most insane fucking thing I've ever heard. The cops pull their guns out because this woman isn't supposed to be leaving. And the mother, her first instinct as a mother is to hold her kid up. Are you fucking me? Hold her 1-year-old child up. Any mother, first of all, any mother that cares about the kids would never even be in this situation. But if there is any situation that a loving mother is in, as she's holding her 1-year-old child, that sees there is danger, maybe guns are drawn. Every mother I've ever heard from, every mother I've ever seen, the maternal instinct dictates she would be in the front footwell of that vehicle with her baby under her, protecting that kid with her own body. Because that's what animals do to protect their kids. And humans most certainly do that. This woman sees guns drawn and pointed at the vehicle and holds her baby up. It's a tragic comedy. How the fuck does anyone think that's the response? Instead of protecting your kid and yelling at your friend who's driving, stop the car, for God's sake. I have my baby here. They're pulling guns out on you. But no. It continues. Let's watch.
Shots were fired, with at least one of the bullets hitting baby Cohen and at least 2 hitting the driver. Cohen's mother says they then drove to the hospital, where her 1-year-old boy unfortunately died from his injuries. Senatobia police allege that officers attempted to stop the car multiple times, but the driver refused and reportedly drove into an officer's direction, which resulted in the shots being fired.
But they tried to say that she forcefully was trying to drive and hit them, but they was all on the right side, and she was driving towards the left. They just personally just shot in the car. They ain't charged me with nothing. They just let me go. They didn't say nothing. They just kept telling the crowd that they were shoplifting. But I don't know if they found anything, because it's nothing found.
The officer involved in the deadly shooting has been placed on leave, and the body cam footage has not been released because the case remains under investigation. As the Senatobia community awaits answers, there are calls for unity, transparency, and accountability.
But my position is, if she had walked out of there with every pamper in the store, that did not elevate the situation to shooting a gun.
Pause again.
Reflect back.
Here's what they're doing. Here's what they are saying. If she walked out of everything with the store, it doesn't justify no shooting. If she was still, she needed the diapers. Why are you shooting someone for stealing diapers? That isn't why they fired. They always do this. The man was shot because his directional signal didn't work. No, that's why he was pulled over. When he drove away and hit one of the cops, that's when the shooting started. Oh, when he jumped out of the vehicle and ran, that's when he was tasered and brought to the ground, and he's got a cut on his face. It has nothing to do with the initial violation is why they were pulled over. We've all been pulled over. Do we all end up dead or fucked up or tased? No, because it depends on what the fuck you did. What you did during the traffic stop. And what you did when you're accused of shoplifting, especially when you have been shoplifting. And that's every indication here, is that they were shoplifting. Which, of course, you don't. Oh, you were shoplifting? Boom, let me shoot that baby in the head. That's what they believe happened. That's what they're protesting about. This woman, her friend, no responsibility whatsoever. And that's what we're supposed to, rally behind. Another innocent child killed by the police. And this just makes them more emboldened and belligerent when they get pulled over. You gonna shoot me like you shot that child? Shut up.